It's good evening. Well done to everyone. As the introduction was made, it was brief as me, but I'm hopeful it will go bigger. A lot has been said about youth. I'm quite happy to be in the youthful age and be a player in the sector. Interacting with youth at different level of teaching, research, outreach programs within the value chain, I've really appreciated the importance of the sector. And all of us who have been talking about youth, I'd like to challenge every person in this before we continue with this panel. We're having various stakeholders here, but I don't know if each one of you is mentoring a young person into your shoe. Yes? So that is just food for thought. You guys need to think about that. I believe each one of you should think of at least putting in a youth closer to you. Yes? Identify young talent, because there are very many talents. Bring them closer to you. Show them what to do. Yes, because I think that is what is really required. Because talking about youth empowerment, bringing us on board, sometimes you might not understand us very well. Yes, because also there are lots of things which have changed. The dynamics of the world have changed. And what youth are picking up is quite different. And the trends are moving. Yes, we might say horticulture youth are not picking up, but have you stayed with the youth very close to you to understand why they are not picking it up? Leave alone having the study bit, maybe running a survey or study the behavior of youth, why they are not picking up. But if you have someone close to you, you can easily understand them. So that one is just a challenge to all of us. We need to think about that. Getting into our plenary session, we're going to have in-depth discussion. Some of the parts have really been touched, but we're going to elaborate much more on them. We have several aims of this session. One of them is to identify areas that youth can be included into the sector. I'm glad some of them were touched, but we are hopeful to elaborate much more. Then we also want to highlight the challenges related to including the youth in the sector. Then we also seek to identify ways of making the sector much more attractive to the youth. So that is what we will entail majorly in this session. I don't know if, yes, Rosina should be following us on. Yes, I think we move directly into the first question. The questions will be in a way that if I give a question, the same question will be answered by all the three panelists, so that we get the insight from the different countries. So the first one, it's just to briefly give an overview of the current status of youth engagement and their respective roles in the horticulture sector in the various countries. Since Mr. Mugisha, you are next to me, I will be the first victim of the question.
All right, thank you very much, moderator. A very good afternoon, friends. My name is Richard Mugisha, and I'm a youth engagement and gender expert. And I work with a network that supports and works with the different civil society organizations, that is Peram Uganda. But I particularly support the young men and women in developing business models while applying the agroecology principles. I didn't know, friends, that if you can no longer change the situation around you, then you are challenged to change yourself. And thus, it qualifies a statement that change starts from within out. In 2005, I met this young lady who I joined as my wife. And she was working with a company that was paying her very well. And we were all comfortable because we were earning some significant amount of money combining with mine. In 2018, she lost her job all of a sudden. And she felt, actually not only her, but we felt that was the end of the world. This was a lady that had never interacted with agriculture apart from finding food on the table. Is that surprising? Yes. In her stages of growing up, the parents did not at any moment shared with her that agriculture is an important sector. But she was only told that food is good. So meaning she never thought of doing anything apart from what she was doing in terms of agriculture. In 2018, when she lost a job, of course she was working as a human resource officer. So she started now looking for jobs, making phone calls to the people that she actually knew, but no one was actually responding to her. And so she told me, she calls me Daddy. She said, now Daddy, am I not finished? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I have supported more than 2,500 young people to start and sustain and maintain business in agriculture, but had not done anything at home. And I think that was a very big deficit and injustice that I was doing to myself. Little did I know that I actually needed to be a change agent starting from home. So as she was trying to look for a job, I also participated in looking for a job. I talked to my friends that I actually knew, but none of them was actually responding. And I kind of got shocked. How come that we create networks and now time has come, we're in a crisis, we need a job for my wife, and no one is coming up? Kumbe God was planning that I prepare her using my previous experience or my ongoing experience to introduce her and my family at large to agriculture. Listen to this. In 2019, I sat her down and said, now stop looking for jobs. I am going to actually introduce you to what I've been doing for the last 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I prepared this lady. We had a small piece of land that was actually idle. But on each day we were spending money on buying food. Can you imagine? So when I introduced her, I said now agriculture is the only and the biggest sector that can potentially provide employment opportunities. Not only that, but also food at home. I first exposed her to places or to farms that she can actually appreciate that actual farming is not a punishment, but it is a business. Number two, I had now to bring down myself to train her properly on the steps and the necessary stages that one goes through to do actually agriculture business. I set for her a farm because I also said, what can you do apart from looking for what you have been looking for? She said, let me just go to farming as a last resort. I said, it's okay. But I knew that was a trap already. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as I talk now, she is a CEO of a horticulture farm that is now leading in producing spices and fresh vegetables in Entebbe district. And as I talk now, she's overwhelmed by the market that she cannot even supply and sustain. As if that was not enough, one of the biggest companies that we have in Uganda called her for a job. Can you imagine? After failing to give her a job when she actually needed it, they are now coming to give her a job when she can no longer receive it. And she turned it down. Then I asked her why. She said, I have already found my position. So, ladies and gentlemen, you realize that some of these opportunities that we find in agriculture are not actually brought to the limelight, to the people who are supposed to actually be doing it. Do you know that I did not only encourage my wife, but also my children? We have 5 children. The last is 5 years, and the first is 12, but they are all in agriculture. When I asked, what do you want to become in future? All of them told me, I want to be like you. That means I'm a farmer. So it has all started from home. This simply means, Mr. Moderator.
That's quite insightful. Maybe can we give you 1 minute to summarize on that question?
This simply means that we actually entirely depend on women for development agenda. Because now at home, we have lessened our expenditure on food. We used to spend more than 70% of our earned income. Now we are actually spending less than 25%. Isn't that good? If you are in church, you would declare for that.
That is quite insightful. He has given us a brief story. Maybe in 2 minutes, we get the insight of youth engagement from the Ethiopian side. So I know you have a lot of stories, but time is against us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So, in the horticulture sector, there are a lot of opportunities to enroll or to engage users. One of these might be to engage users in the value chain or value addition in those products which have been produced by smallholder farmers. And this can be done easily by users and it creates a lot of opportunities for them. And the other challenge which have been, we were discussing this morning and a minute before was the post-harvesting issue. In that sector also, there are a lot of opportunities to enroll users in post-harvest loss technologies because users, as said and presented early morning, they are very much close to technologies, digital labs. And they are very much access to information. They also provide market price, market situation, market demand to smallholder farmers, so that in this sector also there would be an opportunity to use digital labs as well as the knowledge and the skill of users. And the other sector, opportunity for these users under horticulture is to network, because they have access to technologies and they can be accessible to different networking systems that are quite related with the marketing situation, input availability, credit situation, and even capital access to the farmers. So that if we network with the users, they can be working or they can add value to the sector.
Thank you. Sorry, we are serving the interest of time also. I know we have a lot of insights. Maybe we can get a response from the online participant. Please try to use 2 minutes to address this. Ms. Rosina? Yes, please try to use 2 minutes to give us the insight.
Yes, I need a little time, and thank you very much. Sorry I could not participate physically, but I was there in the morning. Yes, I wanted to start by saying that in Kenya, the average age of a farmer is above the age of the 35. Actually, our average farmer is 59 years from the 2019 census. And while this is the case, we have a consuming population of very young people, and with an average age of a consumer being 17 years. And in Kenya, also the statistics show us that over 75% of the population is the youth, and we have a youth employment crisis in the country. At the same time, having agriculture is the main backbone of the country's economy. So this is a paradox because with the kind of people engaged in the agriculture and the population that we have, then the youth need to step up. And I want to talk about the historical aspects of the youth. And historically, agriculture, as everyone knows, is seen as an attractive because the way it has been packaged. Even for us who are in development time, you can always see people also doing a lot of even pictures to just brand a simple magazine. We just use a very unattractive photo, and also making agriculture look very dirty. We have not made it very attractive. And also in terms of historically here in Kenya, I think the other countries the same. It has also been used as a punishment. Like in schools, you find that people are being punished and told you will be able to cultivate the whole shamba and all that. So that gives the youth even more reasons to hate agriculture. And we have also continued, even as parents, to show the agriculture is not a business, but maybe just an alternative for the poor and the like. So it's time for us, as we are saying, all of us to look at the culture and the perception of the agriculture. But at the same time, in Kenya, we have a lot of efforts that is being done. We have a lot of programs. We have also the government giving a lot of youth programs, which are very helpful. And at the same time, we also have policies that have been put in place to ensure that the youth is being helped in all aspects of getting agribusiness. And even programs from private organizations are there. So I think that is the context that we are operating in, but still there is a lot to be done, especially in more space for youth to engage actively in horticulture.
Thank you so much. There are key points to take. The picture being painted on horticulture is not very good for the youth. It's not appealing. You find maybe a photo taken. Yes, you find a photo taken on display showing the peasantry of a person farming. So that is not good enough for a youth. It will not be appealing to a youth. So also the media has a lot of play. The media also has a lot of play in this by painting a better picture and making the sector look better. And as the previous speaker said, as earlier on speakers have said, I will quote the word sexy. She used it. Yeah, so they need to make it much more better for the youth to take it up. So sorry for that. So we'll move into our next question. What are the key, please let us try to use 2 minutes. What are the key major constraints which is affecting youth engagement in horticulture? It can be at various levels of the value chain. 2 minutes. I start with my right-hand man.
Thank you, my brother. The outstanding constraints that really limit the participation and full engagement of young people in the sector, particularly horticulture, is nothing but lack of mentorship. And you know, we have mentioned most of these things, but you realize that the missing link now is mentorship. What does that mean? Mentorship is providing an opportunity to support and handhold someone to actually identify his potential and, so to say, the passion, and realigning their business dreams to actually be able to focus. You will find that most of young people are actually interested in participating in agriculture, but they are doing a lot of things, and at the end of the day, they are doing nothing. Who are they lacking? They are lacking for the business experts and support programs that can actually enable them to really identify their abilities and potential, to focus and be able to meet the increasing demand for actually the fruits and vegetables. And the last one is access to key resources such as finance and land. I want to conclude it. It's unfortunate, but do you know that my father-in-law, the father to my wife, had 300 acres of land. In his will, he wrote and gave out to the biggest chunks to the sons, and gave my wife a 50 by 100 piece of land. What does that mean? That right away from home, there's something wrong.
So I think he has also brought out one key point of can I say culture affecting gender participation in the sector? Because now if the daughter is being given a very small piece of land like that, how can she be productive in horticulture? So those are some of the key things we need to look at. Yes, we move on to the next person.
I take those points into account, and then in our context, much of the factors that are limiting users to involve in this sector is lack of adequate knowledge and skill. And the other one is there is a hope that rural to urban migration, hoping that there is a better job opportunity in urban areas. And this sector is also, someone has mentioned, a capital intensive. And then for users to start this business, capital is one of the limiting factors. Even though we have an excellent policy to support users to engage, implementation of policies into the ground is another challenge also. So having these factors, we didn't actually participate users to their full capacity or to their full potential to contribute to the sectors. So these are the key areas that are limiting users to involve in this sector.
Thank you very much. Rosina? Miss Rosina? As you
Can hear you?
Okay.
Yeah, just quickly, just to add what my other panelists are saying, one of the things is the gender lenses that we need to integrate in development, because especially for the women in youth, the women who are youthful, they have a lot of, especially in their childbearing ages, between the age of, 20s to 35. So any intervention that comes in, it has also to look at gender lenses. For example, even a simple meeting like this, how many participants who are coming, maybe they have babies, how are we helping them to come and learn and get into the aspects of whatever we are discussing. The other thing that is there is the issue of school curriculum. I remember in Kenya a long time ago we had agriculture as one of the courses that we used to do in primary schools, and that was giving us a lot of basics and also giving us a routing to agriculture from a tender age. But with revised curriculums and all that, agriculture, even high school, is optional and all that. But how do we strengthen the education and skills and interest, even from a tender age of a young girl or boy, so that even as they grow up, they don't get to hear of agriculture and everything at a very advanced stage of life. And the other thing is the issue of indigenous knowledge. Indigenous knowledge is very crucial, but the youth have been left out, and they also feel sometimes it's backwardness. So how do we document these indigenous knowledges among the youth and also help them to come up and be able to use them as part of their development and be able to see the importance of it? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, they have touched key points.
You know, as we want to have these young people involved in the horticulture sector, they'll be able to produce fine, but they may not be able to know where to sell their products. So it is now my duty, your duty, to actually provide spaces for linkages. The last one, which is T, is train and provide technical backstopping. I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think there are a few things I want to add. First thing to involve women, users in this sector, is to identify their interest, because in our previous group discussion, one of the key challenges that we had after organizing or providing capacity trainings or even accessing some credit facilities to the users, they left the sector because the incentive from the sector is sometimes slow. And their attitude, it has been mentioned about attitude also, so that we have to check, or we should check those things ahead of time. And secondly, improving the participation of users in agriculture sector through massive mobilization would be a possible way out, or one of the area we need to work. And the other is, enable users to reach their full potential from sector, maybe through developing varieties of technologies, investing their labor or energy in the sector would be one area we should take into account, and accessing agricultural technologies that can be adapted by farmers and even users would be another area we should look into. And early morning, if I'm not mistaken, somebody has mentioned about when you design our program, there is no counter check or monitoring and evaluation system. Everyone is talking, users are engaged in this project and that program. But there has to be some kind of monitoring and evaluation, how the program or how the project is really addressing and what impact has been brought as a result of involving youth has to be there.
Thank you. Ms. Rosina?
Yes, thank you very much. And just quickly is also to emphasize that, we need to have this new generation of farmers in the horticulture sector. And to do so, one is for us to come up with deliberate programs and also mentorship for the youth, as everyone is saying, so that the youth, we work with them. Like now, Pelham, we are having a program on mentoring young women into leadership in general the agriculture sector. So we need more of this, and even like the Yalta initiative, I think most of you have heard about the Yalta initiative that is looking at youth in agribusiness learning track in Africa. So we need more of these programs to come on board and support and mentor the youth. And these can be in the areas of agribusiness, areas of interest to the youth, like looking at a value chain and what areas interest the youth. If it's in terms of marketing, how can we support the youth to help marketing? We had a very interesting case study of some women farmers who had been supported to undertake marketing, and it was a challenge to market. And one of the women engaged their young son, and the young son was able to even start posting what the mother was selling on Facebook and these other social media, and it was a game changer to the family. So even the youth can be helped to come up because they can help these population of farmers who are farming, to help advance the value chain, like marketing and also even in research, because that way youth can also play a part in areas of interest like digitalization and other aspects that they are interested in, because they are very innovative, energetic, and also they are risk takers. And the other thing is mechanization. I think the horticulture sector also needs a lot of ways. How do we help mechanization? How do we come up with simple machines that can make horticulture sector easy to work with, and that way the youth can be more attracted and be able to engage.
Thank you so much. There is one thing I also like to elaborate much more. I really like to admit that currently most youth are very impatient. Yeah, that is one thing which is true. Most of the youth, they prefer something which is quick, fast, and something they are very sure of. Yeah, much as we are sure that horticulture industry is paying, but majority of the youth, they are not patient enough. Now that one calls for one thing which every speaker is almost elaborating on, is mentorship. I'm still back at everyone here. By the end of these sessions, you really need to start thinking, if you are not, to have a youth near you and mentor them into your position. Youth will not come in to overtake your positions, but they are the next generations coming in. So mentorship is the way forward. Going on to another question, this one I'll just give you one minute to respond to it for the interest of time. We have all admitted that youth are most times innovative and are very good in adapting technology. How can we use this technology and youth innovativeness how can you tap in the youth innovativeness and technology to enormously contribute to sustainable development of the horticulture sector?
Bob, you have that phone, which is a smartphone, but it has various functions, that some of which you might not even be aware of. Now, do you know that life starts and ends with food? We have young people that actually have smartphones and they will be interested in participating in agriculture. But because of the low levels of awareness, they may not know actually the entry points But it's good that we have such a platform where we can actually have the young people to participate in order to discover. Life is all about discovering every day. So the moment they really get to understand the underlying opportunities in the horticulture sector, then they will be able to position themselves. Even those that are in the border industry, they know that food is important. Actually, they are frustrated and they are coming back. So we shall arrest them.
So that is clear, creating a very good platform within technology and innovativeness. Please, in 1 minute.
Yeah, I think much has been said, and I previously touched some of the areas. There are the transportation sector, irrigation, and even digitalization are some of the areas that the youth are maybe most untapped areas, and they need to engage. So to give you some practical example, there are some nurseries for fruit trees to be organized so that it is an area which is not untapped so far, and then establishing a nursery and involving users to work on the nurseries would be another areas to start with the business. So if I really anybody works on those areas, it could be a good area to start with.
Yes, thank you very much. To Ms. Rosina.
Yes, thank you. Just briefly again is to say the youth can be involved in marketing and helping also. For example, we need to also come up with decent ways of engaging in the agriculture sector. For example, coming up with just modern issues of addressing. Today when I was seeing the exhibit there, I remember the case from Uganda, the one they are doing hydroponics. That's a very interesting project that even the youth can venture in. So we need to have these kind of very innovative and giving the youth a chance and encouraging them. I think at times when people see the youth, they already write them off. They don't give them the opportunity to engage and show their full potential, even in across board. So it's a time for us to encourage the youth and tell them, yes, this is good, you can do it, you can improve, but not trying to just bully them or just discourage them in whatever they are trying. So let's encourage them, let's work with them, let's mentor them, and then present this horticulture as a potential business opportunity for the youth to benefit and also pass to other generations, because in future, if we don't do that, we shall have an age gap, we shall have a gap in production, and also in food security will be a threat, not only in Kenya, but even in the world at large.
Yes, Rosina, thank you very much, Ms. Rosina. I wanted to give you 1 minute to summarize, but it seems you have given us a full summary. Okay, we are giving you 1 minute. Just give us an overview about the subject of discussion. 1 minute, please be brief.
First of all, I would like to invite everyone in this house and outside to change our attitude towards the young people, that they are no longer a liability but an asset.
Yes, I think he summarized well. Anyways, I have a few things to say. There are a lot of opportunities to integrate youth in this sector. And then one of the critical areas to identify their interest area, unless and otherwise they are very impatient. And we reported that back. It is a failure to work with the youth. So good area, but we should take care how to involve the users in the sector.
Yes, Ms. Rosina, in a minute.
Yes, in a minute, mine is to emphasize that the future now looks ahead by involving the young and also the aging to work together and pass the knowledge that they have together, and just see areas of collaboration. If they already a productive age of 59, they are already on the farm, how can the youth help them to improve even the income in that farm by helping them along the value chain? So as the elderly, let us now support the youth and show them they have that they have the potential, they have the ability to support and work along the value chain, whichever area interests them, and that's the way we are going to succeed and make our countries more food secure.
It is quite insightful. Thank you very much. I will also try to summarize on that. All the speakers have agreed that youth engagement is majorly about mentorship, mindset change, capital, then much more engagements. So I think we'll have to give time for the floor, the audience, if they have any questions, additions to the various panelists. Thank you very much. I'm seeing several hands up.
Okay, I don't even have questions. I just have a few comments to add. So the first thing is I have had a lot of us are mentioning how impatient the youth are, which is true. We are very impatient, mainly because we have grown up in a society where we get everything. It's instant gratification. You're looking for something on the internet, you need information, you Google it, you have it. The social media platforms, you are watching 30-second videos and you get all the information that you need, and those videos are getting shorter. We are going to now 7-second videos. So you said one of the ways to improve youth engagement is mentorship, exposure, linkages, training, but you need to understand that the youth will not go looking for information. This is already a group that is completely disinterested in agriculture. So in my opinion, it is the work of the agricultural sector to make agriculture sexy for the youth. You need to give them the information. They will not go looking, that is for sure. It needs to be where they are going to see it in 30 seconds and scroll past, because after 30 seconds, they will scroll past. So you have to go to where the youth are. And when we're talking about social media platforms, we don't mean Facebook. And I'm not saying it because a lot of youth rarely ever use Facebook. I'm talking about the trendy social media platforms where everyone is right now, because that's where all the fashion news is, that's where all the information on money market funds, as in you need to go to where the youth are. And that is Instagram, TikTok, all those applications that the youth are now using. That is where the information that you want to pass to them needs to be. Another thing should be the agricultural sectors, Ministry of Agriculture, from the county level, I'm speaking from a Kenyan perspective, all the way to other countries. You need to have social media pages, so that you're the one who's uploading information on social media, and then it is sponsored, and then when someone is scrolling on their social media pages, they come across that information, because as I have said, the youth will not go looking for information. They are already disinterested in agriculture. It is upon you to go to them, make them interested in what you want them to participate in. And then lastly, another big issue we've mentioned is the lack of capital. So the youth are unable to participate in agricultural activities because they do not have capital. And one of the biggest problems is that most credit funds view youth as high-risk clients. Because we do not have collateral, we don't have access to land, there's nothing that we can really give to ensure that we will pay back the loans that we are being given. So it is my suggestion that the government, like the way we have the women enterprise funds, we need youth enterprise funds, so that the women are the youth are given startup funds to start agricultural businesses. Thank you.
Those are good comments. Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering how many people here are under 35 years, and actually youth. 35. 35. Okay, thank you. Just that's not bad for a workshop in Africa.
Okay. That's called food for thought.
My name is Ruben. I'm representing farmers. We have a cooperative in Machakos, and I wanted to bring this picture so that you can really understand what is happening. When we formed the cooperative society, you know, members have to join. They have to pay a joining fee, and they have to keep on contributing. Out of the people who joined, these are now the real figures on ground. We are 86. The youth are only 1, 2, 3. Only. One is a male, the other 2 female. That's how it is. So as we discuss, as we look for the way forward, that is how it is. Thank you very much.
I want to first ask you some issues of land ownership.
No, they don't own land. In fact, one of the reasons why they say they don't want to join is because the members are their parents. So they say they do not want to join because the parents are the ones now who are the shareholders of the cooperative.
Okay, I think that's clear. It elaborates more to what we had talked about. There is Anne next to you.
Thank you so much. My addition would be that look at the interest group and integrate it to the horticulture. There's a group that would come and they are doing dancing, but within the dancing, they come to participate in the dancing, but then the horticulture version is brought in it. And then there's another one in Mukono where we use boda boda to do the exporting of vegetable, and when they go to pick the vegetable, they ask many questions and soon they also start. So it's important to integrate, to identify the interest, even if it is not in a horticulture, but to integrate whatever the interest is.
Okay, I think that's quite interesting because okay, boda boda, it's in Uganda, it's just these motorcycle riders. So most youth in Uganda, they are moving into that. So now what she's saying is quite interesting because now if you maybe say these boda groups are supposed to be picking up produce from the growers into the market, with time they'll be seeing what is going on at production level or maybe within the value chain, and they end up getting interested. Thank you. The next.
One other hand. As I give out the microphone, I just remember, show me the money.
Show me the money. I had some Liberian youth who said it really well of a fast nickel is better than a slow dime.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see the money. I want to say fast. So I just definitely wanted to echo several comments that were already made, and particularly made by some of our presenters, is a lot of this does start at the household level and how agriculture is presented to young people, and if it's seen as a punishment, or oftentimes parents in their best interest, they're pushing their children towards education into things that are not linked into agriculture. And how do you bring that back around, starting within your own household and with all of your work? So thank you to all of that. Encourage everybody to have a young person with them at their next conference, of bringing that in there. And one more thing that I did want to kind of mention is to normalizing that sense of impatience. As adults, we often say, young people are so impatient. They just want things so fast. Why? Why is that so? Well, we know a couple of things about young people. One, their lives are very dynamic and changing very quickly. There's a lot of transitions that are happening during this time period, and they do have a lot of needs that they have to respond to very quickly. When you meet the girl who you want to take as your future wife, you better jump on that pretty quickly, and you better respond to that. There's a lot there. Also, a lot of this comes back to brain development as well. The brain is not fully developed until the age of 25 to 28 years old, and one of the last parts of the brain to develop is the ability to respond to some of those longer term thinkings and longer term parts to it. So you got to give young people a little bit of some space to be young and to grow and to find their own path and to respond to that, and to normalize the fact that yes, they are going to want things really quickly. It is necessary, which is why horticulture is such a perfect entry point for young people into agriculture, because it is faster crop cycles. It's not land intensive. There are so many wonderful ways to get young people engaged now through horticulture and let them on with their journey.
Yes, thank you very much.
There we go.
Thank you very much. So it needs to happen fast, and it needs to be fun, and give me the fun.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, youth, for that good presentation. I want to give a research perspective. Mr. Mugisha, I know models are subject. Has it worked anywhere, the melt? If it has not, can you allow modification? And if you can allow modification, I've been hearing a lot of issues about youth, they don't have the capital. Other than having melt, can we have melter? So that we can also include access to capital. That is just a question you can answer later.
That's a good input. Thank you very much.
Can we have it as melter? Because I can see if you leave out access to capital, then the model will not be complete.
Is the reason we are here.
Yeah. Now, another research perspective. You know, I told you I'm a researcher. And when I look at this, the theme of this subject, we are looking at those constraints or challenges that leave us, the academician, to pursue this horticulture business. I would like to suggest that within these different countries, youth are at different levels. But I'm seeing three major strata. We see the youth at the rural, maybe they are dropouts from school. I see the youth in the urban. And I also see the youth, the allied, those which are sitting in front. And probably their entry points in the horticulture value chain might be different. May I suggest, because we have different stratas of the youth with different requirements, maybe we need to put up a research and find out where are these different stratas, can they enter into this value chain? Then after and knowing where they can enter from, we need to show them the money. Because if we don't show them the money, they will not enter. At which level of the value chain? Where is the money? Is it at production? If there is money at production, let's show them. Maybe the rural youth will enter from there. If there is money at post-harvest, primary processing, is it money there? Maybe there is a certain strata of youth that can enter there. If there is money at marketing, can you have success stories? Because there are certain youth that have really made money in marketing. So if we can show the money with the youth at 50, then these young people will come in and enter. Maybe we need a research component on that.
Thank you very much. Any other, before I come to you, any other?
Yes, thank you very much. It has been quite insightful. I don't think I need to elaborate much more, but I am also personally very passionate about research, because right now I also hope to continue into the sector deeply. So I will still insist on one thing: we need to mentor more people, more youth into the horticulture sector, make the sector look good to young people. Thank you, the team of panelists. Thank you very much, the audience. It's my honor and pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.